I'm gaining some deeper awareness as I'm navigating my own sadness. I'm navigating my own emotion, navigating my own aloneness. I'm recognizing that a lot of the impulses I have to cope in a way that would make me feel temporary pleasure or peace or whatever. All these things we reach out to, like drugs, alcohol, masturbation, television, social media, we're all participating in this. There's so many ways to temporarily occupy our mind. And I notice when I have impulses to cope in a way that I know will be temporarily, positive, pleasurable, feel good. I think really it's just an escape from pain. It's an escape from suffering. It's an escape from navigating this world that we are navigating. And I know for anyone listening that would be having an argument with me while I'm talking rather than just listening. And I'm saying that because I know these people. I understand how much perception matters. The way that I look at the world, the way I look at myself in the world, the way that I observe and tell the story about my experience. And we are living in a certain type of framework. And the framework that we are living in makes it really, really difficult to operate outside of it. And in order to function within the framework, the socio-political, economic framework that we are existing within, even the religious, spiritual aspects of that framework, the philosophical aspects of that framework, the very foundational stories that are used to justify the hierarchy and the structure and the behavior in this framework. And I'm using the word framework. I could use the word matrix. I could use the word reality. I could use the word society. Whatever word you want to use, I'm using the simplest word that my mind can find to make sense of the structure or the framework that I navigate in order to participate in society, such as the insurance industry, the medical industry, all of the industries that we are beholden to, that we are subservient to, that we are told we have to have in order to be healthy, in order to be safe, in order to be a participant in this thing. And yet, in order to participate in these things, it requires us to deny our very reality, to deny our intellect, to deny our intuition, to deny our emotions, to pathologize our emotions, and to take a pill rather than recognizing we are having a natural, normal emotional response to a completely toxic, sick environment that is not made to empower us or to energize us or to lift us up. It's actually made to consume off of us. And in observing my own journey within that and coming home from it and being in the illusion of my backyard, meaning this idea that somehow I'm safe or I'm separate from it or I'm outside of it and I can just be on my own for a while. I'm aware that I carry it home with me in my mind. I'm aware that I have all sorts of attachments and stories with it in my mind. I'm aware that I'm observing an entire world around me of people who are suffering in it. And you're watching people and you're feeling like everyone's just walking around hypnotized, going into agreement with things that all of us are observing are just nuts, bonkers, crazy, upside down. And so I take responsibility as I am in this moment by sharing for my perception, for the story I'm telling myself, for how I navigate these things, for how I participate in these things. And yet, I will not lie to myself, and I will not delude myself, and I will not dumb myself down and pathologize my emotions by suggesting that my fatigue, my sadness, my anger, my fear, my experience of depression or anxiety in the context of navigating this thing, that somehow those things are a pathology rather than a natural response to living in an environment that's constantly consuming off of you and draining you, and it's certainly not reciprocating. And to a large extent, we are all beholden to it. It's very difficult to exist outside of it. And we exist outside of it as much as we can in our minds, in our art, in our expression, in the clothes we wear, in the way we speak. We individuate ourselves, but we're all participating in a thing that we know is consuming off of us, that we know doesn't have a lot of care or value for us or our children. But we continue to participate in it. And we continue to resent it. And we continue to co-create it through our unconscious relationship between our sensations and our defense mechanisms and our fears and our emotions and the experiences we've had in our life, the memories from those experiences, and how we selectively attend to that story, the story that we tell about it, and how we defend ourselves within that story that we are superimposing upon the world around us. And I'm working on owning my version of that. And yet, as a man who does the work, as much as I'm capable and willing to do the work, meaning surrender, meditation, putting my attention into my breath, observing how my mind and body responds in the present moment, observing the stories I'm telling, observing my pain, observing my suffering, observing my mind, all those things, and choosing love, and choosing to grow, and choosing to try to find a way to navigate this environment, this structure, this framework in which I can thrive, in which I can experience love, in which I can experience joy, in which I can share love and joy with others, in which I can serve, be present for simply others, and to help lift others up, to help others find a path of healing, to help others grow. Because honestly, I think that's the only way any of us are going to be free from any of the shit we're all afraid of, is to help each other grow. You don't need a healthcare plan to do that. You don't need to be beholden to some giant corporation to do that. You don't need to assume that if you lift someone else up, somehow that makes you some sort of something politically or ideologically or philosophically. It's just like hurt people, healed people heal people. So when you're working on being honest about your journey of growing and healing and being, you naturally want to share that with others. You want to spread the good news, and you naturally want to help lift others up. I think that's at the top of the Maslow's hierarchy, is once all your needs are met, once you are taking responsibility, once you're doing the work and you're fighting the good fight, you want to share that with others, and you want to have a tribe, and you want to lift others up who are willing to be lifted up, and you want to empower people. And that is the world that I want to participate in creating and contributing to. And I believe wholeheartedly, it's why I live my life the way I do. It's how I've lived my entire adult life, progressively so, while working on taking responsibility for my choices, my perspective, my beliefs, etc. And I don't want to get too lost in my own story in the moment. I believe the path to the freedom, to the respect, to the acknowledgement, to the care, to the loving, kind, nurturing, strong, proactive community and culture that I think we would all like to participate in, that work has to come from the inside out. And ironically, in fully surrendering from the inside out, that's where you tap into spirit. It's where you tap into God. It's where you tap into love. It's where you tap into joy. When you allow yourself to surrender, baptism, when you allow yourself to surrender, letting go, meditating, not acting out the programming of your mind and body, what's left over, what is exposed, what fills the void is love, is a desire to serve. It's a desire to help. It's a direct experience with what we can only describe as God or Spirit or Holy Spirit or Christ. Instead of telling the story, it's experiencing what the stories are about. And however you tell that story is up to you. People have different words for it. As long as we're trying to tell other people how they should tell their story, to me it's simple. That's where authoritarianism starts. The moment you tell people how they need to tell their story, or else they won't be saved, or they won't be something, or they're not good enough, or they're part of the other that you're willing to kill, the moment that starts, it's no longer of God. It's no longer of love. It's no longer of what happens when you surrender, radically surrender. So this is my radical surrender in the moment. And I'm noticing on this Tuesday night, before I go to jiu-jitsu, to cope, to play, to be with my friends in my community, to participate in a community that I love and value, I'm at home and I'm feeling, just to be really clear about it, I'm feeling and observing my experiences with my clients today, all of whom are navigating a lot of significant suffering, all of whom who have been through extraordinary suffering throughout their childhoods. And I'm observing where they truly feel helpless and powerless in the context of the life that they have lived and that they're living. And this brings me full circle to why I started this. We are all feeling pain, and we are all feeling a sort of helplessness and hopelessness. We all face that. We all experience it. All of us feel anguish. All of us feel loss. Anyone who cares, anyone who loves, anyone who's worked on letting go, ironically, recognizes the suffering in the world and wants to naturally serve. And when your eyes are open and you see the suffering in the world, and you see the suffering in yourself, and you see the thing we're all being told that we have to participate in, or else, and if we resist it, if we resent it, if we lash out against it, if we feel completely hopeless within it, we are pathologized or locked up, and we are told there's something wrong with us. And that makes people afraid to be honest. So we continue to morph our mind and body and soul the same way we had to as children in order to participate and to survive in this thing. And that's real. And we can only rationalize our emotions. We can only rationalize our sadness, our pain, our anger so much. I experience real anger in the context of a pretty fucked up environment. I experience real sadness. I experience real suffering. And when I come home at night, I feel the pull. I feel a sensation in my body. I think this is the core of addiction. It's the core of coping. It's the core of a lot of how we perpetuate our suffering. I feel how my body and my mind is searching for something to make me feel better. It's that simple. come home at night, you feel tired, you feel overwhelmed, you walk in the house and like, searching for something to make me feel better. And you got a lot available. You got the TV, you got the social media, you got the porn, you got the drugs, you got the alcohol, you got the food. It all tastes really good, full of sugar. And it's really, really, really hard to not participate in that. It's really hard to unplug. It's really hard for people, as much as people try, to not experience significant learned helplessness, to not have a perception of no matter how hard I try, I can't get this ick off of me. No matter how hard I try, I can't get my head above water in this system, in this framework, in this structure I'm living within. No matter how hard I try, I feel like the world is sucking me dry. And I feel like I'm being told to shut up and deal with it, regardless of my gender, my race, where I'm from. I'm being told to shut the fuck up, to participate. And if I get really, really sad or anxious within it, justifiably so, I have a disease or a disorder and there's a pill for it. There's a label for it. And if I lash out, if I actually externalize my anger, I will be punished and pathologized and told that I'm a toxic masculine, whether I'm a man or a woman, regardless of the body I'm living in. If I actually lash out and express in a way that would be justified in the context of the world I'm living in, because I'm watching people suffer all over the place unnecessarily, well, I will be locked up. I will be silenced. I will be labeled as something that is easily dismissed. That's how we undermine the value of people's voices. So I'm going to jiu-jitsu, even though I have ACL surgery next Friday. And I'm going to share with my community. I'm going to play in my community. I'm going to participate in my community. I'm going to do my best to flow with my bros. And I'm going to do my best to radically accept this thing that I'm navigating, to radically take responsibility wherever I can, to try what I think I teach clients, I work with clients the most. How do you learn to be really good at navigating the environment that you live in, that you can't run away from, you can't get away from? No matter what you do, you still have to find a way to navigate this thing, this structure, this place, this matrix, this society. And I'm trying to learn how to navigate it as a warrior, as a father, as a parent, as a son, as a friend, as a citizen. I'm trying to learn how to navigate it with as much grace, as much grit, as much love, as much strength, and as much willingness to grow as I can. And I'm sad sometimes, and I hurt sometimes, and I feel grief sometimes, and I see suffering in others all the time. And I work with people who, no matter, and this is where I would really challenge people in your judgments, in self-righteous judgments. I work with people all the time, and I see people all the time who are really, really, really trying hard. And they are reading the books, and they're learning the meditation, and they are moving their bodies, and they're willing to grow, but holy shit, are they stuck, just entangled in this system that we are participating in and we are co-creating. And I see how choked they are. And so my goal in my practice, in my work, my goal in my practice of myself, my goal in sharing my voice in this way is to just put my arm around you and say like, hey man, it is okay to feel what you feel. I see it too. I share the same reality. I see the bullshit just like you do. I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling the desire to escape too. I'm feeling the desire to temporarily make myself feel better through something just like you. And I'm doing my very best to utilize my God-given consciousness and awareness and willingness and spirit to go do something that I know is really good for me, even though I'm fucking tired and my knee is broken. Going and doing that is the best thing for me right now. And I will feel better after. And I will be reminded of what love is and what freedom is and what strength is. And my body will feel better. And I'll get up tomorrow and I'll take a cold shower in the morning and I'll do it all over again. I'm feeling it all, just like you. And I'm working through it, just like you. And I'm sharing my honest voice in this moment because that's the best that I can do to promote growth and positive change. I think that's the best I can do as a person. I can't tell you who to vote for. I can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you what you need to do or ought to do or should do. I can just share my experience and my perception to the best of my ability. So that's why I'm hitting the record button. And I hope you have a really good Tuesday night.